So what is going on, everybody? Today we found out there is a PTS for Season 10 Title Update 16 coming this Friday. And in those patch notes, we got to learn more about there's 2 new legendaries, there's 1 new Brandset, 1 new Gearset, 2 new talents, 3 new exotics. Countdown are getting more difficulties. And then there are 8 new countermeasures for Countdown. So what we'll do is we'll go in detail about all this in this video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy videos like this, if you enjoy this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more. So let's get into it. So if we look at the patch notes, it says welcome to phase 1 of Season 10 PTS. And then it goes on and says, please note that the new features mentioned below are still being worked on and therefore not in the final stages. Final 3D models for some of the new gear and weapon items are still pending. So just like the previous one, we probably won't see what these weapons actually look like in this PTS. So that's still something we'll find out once they launch Title Update 10. Now it talks about it goes live Friday, 19th August. That's this Friday. The patch size without the PTS build on Connect is 85 gigabytes. Now the size with it is only 6. So depending if you have it or not. So we go to Countdown. For the new difficulties, they have normal, can be completed solo. They also have hard design of groups of 8 casual players. Challenging, they say that's the current difficulty that we're playing currently right now, is designed for a group of 8 matchmake players, but can be completed by a team of 2 to 4 hardcore players. And then the hardest is the heroic, best of 4 to 8 hardcore players. Now, they have said that the harder difficulty, the better the rewards, so hopefully we'll see how this all transitions. Now, they talk about the new countermeasures. They have 8 new countermeasures. You guys know the ones that we previously have, like the one that gives you extra damage, short range, long range, allows you to use skill damage, stuff like that. Now, for these countermeasures, let's get into them. So number 1, they have skill suppression. Once an enemy is dead, an EMP is deployed, disrupt effect that can affect agents and their skills in 15-meter radius. If you deactivate it, the benefit is enemies no longer deploy the EMP after they die. Players reduce a 25% preliminary skill cooldown if they kill an enemy within 15 meters of radius. So that's actually pretty cool. They have explosive resistance one. Enemies gain 100% explosive resistance. If you deactivate the bus, enemies no longer have that extra explosive resistance, but agents gain 25% explosive damage. So if you like running explosive damage builds. Next one is reload speed. Agents total speed weapon reload is decreased by 75%. So you might want to deactivate this. If you deactivate it, agents no longer have total speed weapon reload decrease to 75%. Agent actually gain 25 speed reload. That was actually really cool. They have armor protection. Enemies receive 25% incoming armor repairs. If you deactivate, enemies no longer receive that extra armor repairs, but agents gain 25% for incoming armor repairs. Oh, I like that. That's a little armor regen kind of. Hostile skill damage resistance. Enemies gain 50% skill damage resistance, but it says deactivation benefit. Enemies no longer have that skill damage resistance, but enemy skill damage resistance is reduced by 25%. Okay, agents hazard resistance. Agents hazard resistance is reduced by 25%. If you deactivate it, agents hazard resistance is no longer reduced by 25%. Enemies hazard resistance is reduced by 25%. Also, those skill builds, those status effects builds are going to do good. Headshot resistance, enemies headshot resistance is increased by 25%. If you deactivate it, it's no longer increased, but it says agents gain 25% headshot damage. And then there's critical resistance, enemies reduce incoming critical chance by 25%. Enemies no longer reduce incoming critical chance by 25%, but agents then gain 25% critical chance. So the countermeasures actually seem pretty. Now they say some other change cool to prevent players from being kicked out of the group by group leaders before and during the extraction. The feature is now disabled. So no longer can those group leaders just randomly kick players. I didn't see that really happening in my groups, but I guess that's been happening when people are about to extract, which is kind of messed up, right? So it's a good change, right? The new gear. So they do have a new gear Brandset. The 1 piece is going to give you that 10% skill haste. The 2 pieces equipped is going to give you 1 skill tier, and the 3 piece is going to give you 20% ammo capacity. I'm not too sure about this Brandset. I'm not even know how I would rock this. Not too many pieces that I would run the 1 piece, maybe the 2 piece, but I have a technician class for that. I just don't see a benefit of this set. I don't know. You guys let me know. They do have a new gear set called Umbra Initiative, and then it says 2 pieces equipped give you 15% critical hit chance. Okay. 3 piece equipped gives you 30% reload speed. Not bad. Let's see what the 4 piece is. The 4 piece equipped gives you access to 2 unique talents based on the player positioning from the shadows and into the light. So from the shadows is when you're in cover. Into the light is when you're out of cover. So it says, from the shadows while in cover, you gain 10 stacks per second up to 50. Each stack will give you 1% critical hit damage, so a total of 50% critical hit damage, and an increase of 0.5% RPM, which is 25% RPM. Buff does not apply while shooting from cover. While out of cover, you lose 4 stacks per second at normal speed and 2 stacks per second if running. So this looks like something, if you get out of cover, you can instantly probably put out a lot of DPS, but I'm not sure about this set, to be honest. I have to try it out. I just don't really see this being a viable set, but we'll see. Now, they do have a chest and backpack bonus. The chest increases your stack from 50 to 100, so you can have 100% critical hit damage and 50% RPM. Okay, that might be kind of crazy, especially with like something like the Vector. And it says you gain 20 stacks per second from the shadows, okay, instead of 10 stacks. So that'd be a lot quicker. You can actually get those stacks a lot faster. It says backpack increases stacks from 50 to 100. You gain 20 stacks per second for into the light, and then consumes 20 stacks per second while in cover. So I don't know how that would work. You increase stacks from 50 to 100, and then you gain 20 stacks per second from into the light and consumes 20 stacks per second while in cover. So I would have to try. I think ideally you'll probably run the chest and backpack alongside this, because that's probably the best way you're going to be able to get this to perform well. But I have to actually try this set. So once I get my hands on the PTS, I actually try this out and let you guys know how I feel about the set. So far, just reading it, I don't know. Now, there are some new weapons and talents I talked about to you guys. So let's talk about the 3 exotic weapons. Number 1, Doctor's Home, exotic variation of the M1A close quarter combat rifle. It's called Talent Dr. Home. Shooting an enemy with the doctor applies a mark. When you kill that mark, the mark drops 15% armor repair kit. The kit does not give bonus armor. Only the weapon owner can see the armor kit. Once the player picks up the armor kit, all party members receive the heal. Kind of like a support role. So if you actually can get a build that's actually pretty good, built around a rifle, and you're killing enemies, you're constantly healing your teammates. That actually seems not bad. Now, the next exotic is the gloves, the Bloody Knuckles. It says talent over the top. Throwing a grenade and striking an enemy with a melee attack activates Seeing Red buff. The Seeing Red buff grants 25% weapon damage plus 100% melee damage. Seeing Red lasts 20 seconds and has 60-second cooldown. While in cooldown, striking the enemy with a melee attack and hitting the enemy with the effect of the grenade will complete the cooldown instantly. So you gain 25% weapon damage and 100% melee weapon. It lasts 20 seconds and has a 60-second cooldown. But striking an enemy with a melee attack or hitting the enemy with the effect of a grenade will complete the cooldown instantly. So you can constantly always have that 25% weapon damage. And 100%. I don't know. That might actually work good, especially if you're running something like the Lady Death. I can see that working really good with this. We'll have to see that. That one actually seems pretty interesting. They have Busy Little Bee. This is an exotic pistol inspired by the lightning rod. The talent is called Busy Little Bee. Each shot to a different target increases weapon damage. If the player keeps shooting at different targets, each shot increases 10% to a maximum of 200% weapon damage. Players have 5 seconds to shoot between each target until they lose the stacks and must do it again. When the time is over, the player shoots the same target. They will gain an extra 5% damage for each stack they were able to get on the next shot. The stacks will remain even if the user changes weapons. Oh, that seems kind of good. So I wasn't feeling the whole pistol, but the fact that if you could build a stack, you could swap to another weapon. For PvP, probably not good. For PvE, this could actually be pretty crazy. So I would definitely have to try it. We don't really use our pistols much for anything, but this gives you a benefit to use your pistols, especially PvE. You build up that stack, you swap to your weapon. I think that's actually cool. So I'll have to test that one out too and see how it is. Now, there are 2 named weapons called Lefty. It's the ACS-12 shotgun. It comes with a talent called Perfect Sledgehammer. Dealing damage with a grenade applies a mark to the target. The target with the mark takes 40% more damage to the armor and negative 10% movement speed. The thing is, you have to hit them with a grenade to actually get that to activate. So it might be kind of situational. Now, the same talent comes on the SOCOM M1A called the Stage Left. Dealing damage with the grenade applies a mark on target. Target marks the target 40% more damage, negative 10% movement speed. This right here, you know what I was thinking? This might actually work like as a support build. Say if you are if this works in PvP like this, imagine throwing a nade, you end up hitting the player, right? Now he's gonna have negative 10% movement speed, and the targets with the mark take 40% less damage. That might actually work, but the weapons kind of suck, so we have to test it out. Now, those talents do come regular, and instead of 40% more damage, it's just 30%. And then that might actually be pretty good, but the fact that you always have to throw a nade, you might be out of nade, so it's really honestly a hit or miss with those talents, Sledgehammer and Perfect Sledgehammer, right? We keep going down, and we have the 2 new strongholds. They added legendary difficulty to Tidal Basin and legendary difficulty to Manning National Zoo. Now the UI, they added a server timer for the main menu. They added a quality preview for material caches that allows you to see what's inside it before opening. They removed the interval of randomization for material caches to allow the maximum of each material to be obtained when obtaining the caches. Added an option to hide loot beams in the gameplay settings. Added an option to sell from the stash. At each vendor, players can sell stuff too. Exotics can now drop in the open world from random NPCs and any activity. Please note that the drop chance percentage for PTS has been set up to be much higher than the actual value. Is that going to be once the game goes live, or is that just for the PTS so they can actually drop, so that way you can actually test it out? Obviously, they want you to test it out. Now, something a lot of you guys have been asking for, character customization. You can now change the player's body type, skin tone, face shape after starting a character's progression. So that's actually pretty cool. And finally, materials and resources cap raised from the main resources, namely food, water, components, up to 500 units. They cap raised for all crafting, optimization materials, and DZ credits. So it looks like Title Update 16 Season 10 should have some pretty cool items. I'm still unsure about those gear sets, those brand sets, but we'll just have to see. Obviously, I'll be grinding all of them during the PTS to try to give you guys some input on what I think about them. Just reading them, none of them really stood out to me, but just have to play with them, see how they work. I'm just not a fan of that brand set so far. I'll tell you that 10% skill haste, one skill tier, 20% ammo capacity. I don't know. What do you guys think? We're going to wrap it up here, guys. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the love. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until the next one, nothing but skills out.